Skateboarding. The action sport that took America by storm. Hobby, profession, and lifestyle.
It just gave me something to do, something that I'm passionate about.
Skateboarding has humble beginnings, but quickly evolved into an American counterculture movement and continues today as a staple of global pop culture. Love it or hate it.
The bone really breaks and it protrudes outside the skin.
Skateboarding is a part of mainstream culture, and it is here to stay. Skateboarding was born in the 50s, when surfers in California got bored of waiting for the next swell. Fast forward to today, skateboarding is a global phenomenon.
My introduction to skateboarding was, the first time I really paid any attention to it was when a couple of people I knew from high school were skating at this bank across from my job. I went up to him and said, "What's up?" I showed interest in skating, and he was like, "I got one of my old boards that you could have if you want." And I was like, "Yeah." So I just started, messing around with it, and then I was skating every day since then.
It was like me and my homeboys growing up. That's like all we did was just skate and longboard and bike, and then like kind of got out of it, once I turned like 13, started going down the wrong path. But now I'm back into it, I'm trying to take it more serious now than I was when I was younger. But I felt like I was a little less scared of the things that, like when I was younger, I wasn't scared to do stuff. But now like it's like taking a little more to get into it.
So when I was little, of course, I had all these older cousins, and they bought cheap Walmart boards, and they would ride them at my grandma's house because she had a hill, but I was too afraid. So I sat on the board and just rode down her driveway. And that was like the first time. And then I saw it in media and stuff. And then when I was about 15, it was senior skip day, and my cousin, who was older, took me along with him because I was a bad kid. And I just went to senior skip day with him. And he was like, "All right, we're going to Casca. We're going skating." And I was like, "Okay, I've never been skating before, but let's go. I'm game." So that was the first day I ever rode a longboard. That was the first day I ever saw him, do any tricks, ride the skateboard, do anything like that.
But it still maintains its roots as a way for people to come together and have some fun.
I think what it means to be a skateboarder is just to have fun with it, Not everybody can do the best tricks, or not everybody can, air up the highest, but it's something that, if you got use of all your limbs, and even some dudes who don't have their limbs, everybody can get into it and kind of do their own thing with it,
I wouldn't really say there's a whole lot of meaning to it other than I don't know, it's pretty much an obsession at this point. It's what I've always done. All my friends are into it. And I don't know, I just can't really see myself quitting. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis into it being like an art form. I don't really know if it's that. I don't really know what to brand it. Just fun, I guess.
What does that really mean at the end of the day? You could be something, but at the end of the day, what does that matter? It's just I just like to skate, man. It's just, I don't do it so often now, but it's just nothing as thrilling as just riding around with people, or riding around by yourself and just doing whatever. You feel me? That's the coolest part. The coolest parts about skating is this you do with the people you're with. You feel me? Because skating with people is a lot more fun than skating by yourself.
I feel like a lot of people would like to let you think that skateboarding is some open community and I don't know, it accepts everyone. But from what I've noticed, a lot of people are really withdrawn and don't let people in. I guess it depends on where you go. I mean, it could be because I'm awkward, but I'm not really sure.
There's gatekeeping, especially with older skaters to younger skaters. A lot of them just want children out of their space. They don't want a kid on a skateboard who's going to fall every 5 seconds, taking up the half pipe that they could, be trying vert tricks on. It's just understandable, but at the same time, they were that kid before. It has its own issues, but if you find the right crowd that'll take you in, you're going to find better friends than you'll find anywhere else because you have that common interest that allow you to, just enjoy the freedom.
Some people are do their own thing, but then there's other people who are here as mentors that are if you got a question, they'll help you willingly instead of being a dickhead about it, or you know what I mean, trying to like act like they're better than everyone else. So I feel like a lot of skaters are like that though. Like they will help someone, or like just because like it's like a common interest or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's how I am. Like if I seen like a little kid asking for help, like how to do this or that, I would help them versus be like, you're a fucking loser because you can't do it.
Skateboarding isn't easy. There's failure, conflict,
If you come at them with hate and disrespect, like don't be mad at us for coming back with it.
pain,
Boo-boo. He got boo-boo.
frustration, and people aren't always welcome to skateboarders.
Get down on the floor. I just asked you to get down, okay?
She's doing this for nothing.
I don't think it needs to be banned. Like why? Why would it need to be banned? Like something like why? Like they just hate to see other people being happy. You feel me? Like what does that have to concern? Like if you don't skate and you don't like it, that's cool too, dude. Like you can't control someone's life when it doesn't matter to you. Like what does the person skating have to do with you? You feel me? Like why are you going out of your way to do something like this? Like what are you benefiting from this? Like
I understand that there's a lot of public safety issues, especially like when you're in the city and you see kids like grabbing onto like cars and stuff. Like obviously that's a huge safety risk. But I mean, people are going to do that anyway. People are always going to find a way to do something they shouldn't and risk their lives doing it. And it's not your job to stop them. I mean, if it's a kid, it's a little different, but like 18-year-olds, full-grown adults, they're going to do it anyway. And if you're trying to protect the kids, that's understandable, like helmet rules and stuff like that, like public park helmet rules and pads and everything. But banning is just, first of all, it's not going to work. Second of all, it's pointless anyway.
You know, I know some people aren't down with skateboarding on, you know, private property, and you see footage of skateboarders getting kicked out by security and trying to, like, you know, act like a fool in public and whatnot. So, you know, that's a negative aspect of it, but I think the cooler aspects of it, just going out and ripping and having a good time, I think that gets its fair share of play on media as well, and I like that.
I've broken like probably all my fingers. I've broken a lot of bones. My wrist, just my right wrist. I messed my elbow up. I've messed my heels up, like bruised heels and stuff like that. But like, I've done a lot of damage to myself from skateboarding.
A few years ago, I was trying to drop into a bowl, and my foot slipped, and I fell knee first straight onto the concrete. I didn't think much about it, but a few days later, I realized I had a dent in my knee. And whenever I touched it, it would hurt, and then the side of my knee would tingle. And just, I still have the dent in my knee. I went to patient first to look at it, and they're like, no, you're good. And I was like, no, I have a dent in my knee. I'm not good, but pain eventually went away and the tingling went away, but still have the dent.
I've been a physician for 29 years. Yeah, the most common skateboard injuries are fractures of the wrists, fractures of the ankles, fractures of the legs. If the bone is broken in the growth plate, it can affect future growth. Okay, there's a part of the bone that allows, the bone doesn't grow everywhere. There's a part of the bone that has a growth plate, and that's where the growth occurs. So if you fracture that, you can stunt the growth, so you may end up with uneven limbs, one leg along with the other. And also, head injuries are pretty common as well, but not as common. Injury can be cumulative. So if you injure yourself when you're 7 and you injure again at 17 and then at 27, there can be more, the future concussion, the final one can be more serious. The most common scenarios are someone has a concussion, it lasts for 2 or 3 weeks, they rest, they get better. But there are some people who have a hard time concentrating afterward, what they call soft neurological signs, where they have like a hard time concentrating, have a problem with memory, and so forth.
But for every low, there's a high. And today, you'd be hard-pressed to go a day without seeing, hearing, or touching something that came from skateboard culture.
Like media that isn't ran by skateboarders, it's kind of cheesy. Doesn't really capture what it really is, I guess. I don't know. I always kind of find myself cringing a little bit when I see like people portray skateboarding that don't really.
You see them everywhere, night and day, on the beach, in the streets, and in your face.
Tony Hawk's Underground.
It's cliche at this point, but Tony Hawk's Underground too.
I believe just the Tony Hawk games when I was younger. Now you have like skate, and then I think EA is making another skateboarding game, and just a lot easier for people to get into based off of pop culture.
You don't have to have been noticed by someone prior. If you have good talent, you can showcase it on social media.
It's kind of become like a cool, trendy thing to do.
It's like a really popular thing. You see all these people who are like hyped about it. You see all these people who are good at it just in the public parks, and all these people who are doing good at the X Games, all these people who are just out here killing it, and it's not really seen as a bad thing anymore. It's viewed as a sport, and I think that's the way it should be.
Skateboarding started as something that lived on the fringes of society. Now, it's right in the middle. Skateboarding is a lifestyle. It shapes and changes lives the same way it shaped and changed the culture of the world.
I really want to be in a certain point in my life where like I own a skate and surf shop and I do custom painting stuff in the back. You feel me? Just like that, the artistic side of like the skating culture is like very dope.
I see skating fitting into my life all the way throughout until I'm dead. You know, as long as I'm able, I want to be able to skateboard. I know, unfortunately, there may come a day where I'm not physically able to, but, you know, we're just going to cross that bridge when we come to it.
I'm not sorry.